Hello and welcome to the FA Women's National League show, the weekly show where we look at everything that's happened in the third and fourth tiers of women's football in England over the past 7 days and look ahead to what we can look forward to in the coming week. My name is Chris Gadsby. I'm here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. bring you all the very latest from the FA Women's National League in the Northern and Southern Premier Divisions and in Division 1 in the Midlands, the North, the South East and the South West. We have had a record-breaking weekend in the FA Women's National League, particularly in the Northern Division. We'll get more details on that in a moment, but before we get there, we shall start with, as we always do, the results in the Northern Premier Division. Brighouse Town 1, West Bromwich Albion 1, Burnley 3, Loughborough Lightning 0, Huddersfield Town 5, Stoke City 1, Middlesbrough 0, AFC Fylde 3, Nottingham Forest 0, Derby County 2 and Sheffield FC 4, Hull City 0. Let's start with that game between Brighouse Town and West Bromwich Albion. The goal for Brighouse Town coming from Imogen Porteous-Williams, goal for West Bromwich Albion coming to Evangeline Gallup. Burnley 3, Loughborough Lightning 0. Goals for Burnley, 2 for Nicola Worthington and 1 for Evie Priestley. Evie Priestley with her 5th of the season. Nicola Worthington also scoring her 4th and 5th of the season so far. Huddersfield Town with a convincing victory over Stoke City, a 5-1 victory for Huddersfield. Braces for Kate Mallin and Brittany Sanderson, complemented by Serena Fletcher, gave Huddersfield Town their 5 goals. Nuala Mizekel in the 36th minute, getting the only goal of the game for Stoke City. Middlesbrough 0, AFC Fylde 3, another victory for Fylde as they continue towards the top of the table. Goal in the 24th minute to Amy Hughes came just 7 minutes after Jess Holbrook opened the scoring for Fylde. Then 15 minutes from time substitute Melanie Bartley getting the 3rd goal for a convincing 3-0 victory away from home for Fylde. And then we come to the record-breaking game, a new attendance record in the FA Women's National League. Nottingham Forest 0, Derby County 2. Game played at the City Ground in front of 4,443 people. A terrific afternoon. I was there pitch side. Even though it got a bit wet in the second half, must be honest, Derby County really came out trying to spoil the party, and that's exactly what they did. Forest missed a penalty on the half-hour mark and had hit the post midway in the first half. Derby County capitalised on an error 3 minutes to the end of the first half. Emily Joyce tapping in from close range. And that was followed up in stoppage time at the end of the first half by a terrific free kick from Ellie Gilliatt to make it 2-0 to Derby County. Ellie Gilliatt there with her 4th of the season. Derby really came out, tried to spoil the party for Forest women, their first league fixture at the City Ground, and Derby came away with all 3 points. And as we will see in a few moments when we look at the table, leapfrogging Forest in that one as well. And then finally, in the Northern Premier Division, a very convincing and good victory for Graham Abercrombie and his Sheffield FC side. A hat-trick for Nicole Kemp and another goal for Yasmin Mason, who's been popping up a few times so far this season, gave them a 4-0 victory against Hull City. Let's have a look at the Northern Premier Division table then. It's Fylde who go back to the top of the table. They're level on points with Wolves, but Wolves do have a game in hand. Derby County just a point back there in 3rd, also with a game in hand over AFC Fylde. Nottingham Forest now find themselves in 4th, the lowest position they've been for a while. 13 points, still a game back from Fylde at the top. Burnley are in 5th, Huddersfield Town in 6th, Brighouse Town 7th, West Bromwich Albion 8th, Sheffield FC in 9th. Stoke City and Loughborough Lightning are in 10th and 11th. They're tied on 4 points. Middlesbrough have 3 and Hull City at the bottom of the league with just the 1 point to their names so far this season. Into the Southern Premier Division, then we had a postponement here as well. But Bridgewater United 3, Plymouth Argyle 0, Cardiff City 4, Hounslow 0. Game between Chichester and Chelsea and Milton Keynes Dons was postponed. Crawley Wasps narrowly beating Oxford United by a goal to nil. Gillingham 3, Portsmouth 0. London Bees 1, Ipswich Town 3. And yet another convincing victory for Southampton, a 9-0 victory over Keynsham Town. Let's look at those fixtures in a bit more detail. Then we'll start with Bridgwater United against Plymouth Argyle, a 3-0 victory for Bridgwater United, but unfortunately no details about the goal scorers yet on the FA Women's National League website. Cardiff City 4, Hounslow 0. Ellie Sargent with a single goal for Cardiff City and a hat-trick for Corey Williams, long-serving player for Cardiff City ladies there. Corey Williams popping up with a hat-trick, making it 4-0. Crawley Wasps 1, Oxford United 0. A close, tight game there. Goal came on the 70th minute. Emma Jane Plewer with the only goal of the game to give Crawley Wasps a valuable 3 points. Gillingham 3, Portsmouth 0. Goals coming for Gillingham in the 29th minute to Phoebe Leach. And then in the 66th minute, Melanie Pereno. And then just to round things off at the 91st minute, Cara Sophia Priscilla Afiu-Furdior in the 91st minute, making it 3-0 to Gillingham. Ipswich Town continued with their 100% record away at the London Bees. Goals coming from Zoe Barrett, Sarah Brasso-Chiera and Eloise King for Ipswich, as they maintain their 100% record. Danielle Puddlefoot in the 71st minute getting the goal for the London Bees from the penalty spot. And then finally, in the Southern Premier Division, Southampton 9, Keynsham Town 0. Another convincing victory for Southampton, who opened the scoring in the 3rd minute through Laura Rafferty. She then got a second on the 53rd minute. There was a hat-trick for Ella Pusey, second half hat-trick for Ella Pusey, 63rd, 78th and 90th. Phoebe Williams got one in the 26th minute. 69th minute, Millicent Mott popped up to get her only goal of the game. 84th minute, the substitute Sophia Farrow got a goal, and Lucia Kendall 2 minutes later in the 86th minute made it 8-0 to Southampton. Before then, Ella Pusey got her hat-trick goal in the 90th minute. So a convincing 9-0 victory for Southampton, which sees them stay at the top of the Southern Premier Division, tied with Ipswich, but with a far superior goal difference. And those two sides are both 6 points clear now of Crawley Wasps in 3rd place with 15 points. Bridgwater United on 14, and then Portsmouth, Oxford United and Gillingham on 13 points each. Cardiff City in mid-table, 10 points from 8 games. London Bees a further game behind them on 7 points. Keynsham Town with a minus 30 goal difference. They have 6 points. Chichester and Chelsea on 4 points. Plymouth Argyle on 3. MK Dons on 2. And then Hounslow with a minus 33 goal difference. Still yet to get a point this season. And you feel as though it might well come down, as we've said a couple of times now, might well come down to those games between Southampton and Ipswich Town. First one in December. The second one, which could well be a title decider if the two sides carry on the way they're going, will be... It's the penultimate game, well, it is as it stands at the moment, the penultimate game of the season. So that could well decide the Southern Premier Division if they both carry on the way they are going. Let's move through then into the 4th tier, and we're going to start in the Division 1 Midlands, but the 4th tier had midweek games, so we're going to start in midweek. On Tuesday, Doncaster Rovers Bells 1, Long Eaton United 1, and then 4 games on Wednesday. Peterborough United 0, Lincoln City 8, convincing victory for them. Hull Sports 4, Biddeford United 0, Solihull Moors 1, Leafield Athletic 2, and Sporting Cowsall 1, Wem Town 1. Let's start with Doncaster Rovers against Long Eaton United. Then goal for Doncaster Rovers scored by Jasmine Saxton. Tiana Hicks getting the goal for Long Eaton United. Really convincing victory for Lincoln City away at Peterborough United. A hat-trick for Jessica Rizou in the 25th, 31st and 61st minute. Her goals coming. A brace for Tony McHamilton in the 50th and the 90th minute. And then single goals for Leah Hardy in the 10th, Amy Blinkhorn in the 23rd and Sophie Crosby in the 56th minute. Howell Sports beating Bideford United by 4-0. A brace for Katie Lauder and 1 each for Natalie Hurst and Chantel Robinson, giving Howell Sports the 4-0 victory in that one. Solihull Moors narrowly losing out to Leafield Athletic in their midweek fixture. Leafield Athletic took a 2-0 lead. Chloe Barker-Duffy in the 27th minute and then Katie Johnson in the 49th gave them a 2-0 lead. Catherine Pagan in the 80th minute pulled one back for Solihull Moors, but they just weren't able to get that second goal and get a point from that game. And then finally in midweek, Sporting Cowser against Wem Town. Gurjit Dule in the 45th minute scoring for Sporting Cowser. Katie Doster getting the goal for Wem Town. When we go into the results from the weekend, Hull Sports 6, Leek Town 1, Leaford Athletic 2, Lincoln City 4, Long Eaton United 2, Sporting Cowser 2, Peterborough United 2, Boldmere St Michael's 5, and Solihull Moors 5, Burton Albion 4. Start then with Hull Sports against Leek Town, a convincing 6-1 victory. A hat-trick for Chantel Robinson in that one, and a brace for Courtney Cropper for Howell Sports. There's no information about a penalty to Howell Sports, so we'll have to take the assumption that there was an own goal in that one because a penalty has not been recorded. Leek Town, they've always found we're going to find it difficult when they lost Chantal Gallagher on the 28th minute for a second yellow card. Katie Gibbons scoring their only goal of the game in the 69th minute. Leafield Athletic 2, Lincoln City 4, 2 wins for the week for Lincoln City. Again, Leafield Athletic were always going to struggle. Natasha Weldon getting a red card just 15 minutes from the end. Was a close game before that. Leah Hardy opened the scoring for Lincoln City in the 8th minute before Chloe Barker-Duffy equalised for Leafield Athletic. 1-1 it was for 20 minutes or so. Jessica Razoo popping up again for Lincoln City, making it 2-1 at half-time. Katie Johnston then made it 2-2 just before the hour mark. That lasted for 10 minutes. Leah Hardy popping up with her second of the game on the 68th minute to make it 3-2 to Lincoln City. Leafield Athletic then went down to 10, and then Leah Hardy completed her hat-trick just before the end of the game in the 90th minute to make it 4-2 to Lincoln City. Long Eaton United against Sporting Cowser, 2-2 in this one. Lucy Johnston and Carla Thornton getting the goals for Long Eaton United. Sporting Cowser, Gurjit Dule in the 24th minute and Louisa Anderson in the 87th minute getting their goals. Wem Town against Doncaster Rovers Bells postponed, so we'll go to Peterborough United against Boldmere St Michael's. Where Boldmere St Michael's come away with the 5-2 victors, despite Peterborough United taking the lead in the 7th minute thanks to Jessica Driscoll. And then in the 9th minute, Evie Billingsley equalised for Boldmere St Michael's. Then Keir Perkins popped up for Peterborough United, made it 2-1. Stephanie Weston then decided to put on a bit of a show. 48th, 55th and 75th minute, making it 4-2 to Boldmere St Michael's, and a hat-trick for her. Amelia Kirk popping up in added time in the 93rd minute to make it 5-2. And finally, the game of the day in Division 1 Midlands, a 9-goal thriller between Solihull Moors and Burton Albion. Goals for Solihull Moors coming in the 2nd minute and 67th minute to Catherine Pagan. 51st minute, Jessica Lundy. 90th minute, Lois Jeffries. Just check to see if there's any penalty in that as well. Yes, Lois Jeffries in the 16th minute as well. So 2 goals for Lois Jeffries. Danielle Oxley getting 2 goals for Burton Albion. Molly Garner getting a goal, as well as Ella Ritchie getting their 4. And it was that 90th minute second goal of the game to Lois Jeffries that gave Solihull Moors the 5-4 victory and all 3 points. The Division 1 Midlands table then, Lincoln City find themselves 2 points clear at the top after their 2 wins this week. Boldmere St Michael's hot on their heels in 2nd place. Long Eaton United in 3rd, Doncaster Rovers Bells in 4th, but they do have a game in hand. They could jump, unless it's a massive victory, but they could jump above Long Eaton United into third spot with the game in hand. Leek Town and Hull Sports follow them, 12 points and 10 points, respectively. Solihull Moors and Leaford Athletic also have 10 points. Then towards the bottom, Peterborough United on 8 and Wem Town on 7. Sporting Cows are 6, Burton Albion on 5 points. And then Biddeford United at the bottom of the table, yet to get a point this season. Into the Division 1 North then, and 4 games midweek. As I said, a midweek programme in Division 1 across the country in the past week. We'll start then with Bradford against Leeds United. Bradford City winning by a goal to nil there. Very close game. Sophie Hawkins in the 37th minute popping up with the only goal of the game. Norton and Stockton Ancients had a good win away at Chester Street Town. A 4-1 victory for Norton Stockton Ancients, and very prolific at the end of the first half. Bianca Owens in the 17th and the 34th minute had the goals earlier on in the half. Then Shannon Reid in the first minute of added time and Sasha Millwood in the second minute of added time popped up with 2 late goals before half time for Norton Stockton Ancients. All their goals coming in the first half. Chester Street Town's goal scored by Brogan Purdue, and it was a 4-1 victory in the end for Norton and Stockton Ancients. Durham Sestra 5, Alnwick Town 1, a good home victory for Durham. Goals there scored Grace Eyre in the 16th and the 64th minute, Jennifer Knowles in the 48th and Erin Nelson in the 35th, Kirsten Donaldson in the 88th minute, rounding off their scoring. Only 1 goal for Alnwick Town, Michelle Stewart in the 43rd minute. Stockport County against FC United of Manchester then. No information about FC United of Manchester, but no goals either. 2 goals for Jess Battle, the 57th and the 69th minute. Emily Bradshaw in the 77th minute, rounding out the scoring for Stockport County. Into the Division 1 North then. Alnwick Town 0, Stockport County 5, Barnsley 4, Chester Street Town 0, Newcastle United 4, Durham Sestra 0, Leeds United 5, FC United of Manchester 0, Liverpool Feds 3, Bradford City 0, and Norton and Stockton Ancients 0, Chorley 0. So not a good weekend if you were the away side, unless you were Stockport County, who won by 5 goals to 0 away at Alnwick Town. Jess Battle, Emily Bradshaw, Maria Figueiredo, Kennedy Owen and Abby Cheshworth getting their goals. There isn't any information yet about Barnsley against Chester Street Town, so we'll go to Newcastle United against Durham Sestra, where Casey Elson got 2 goals, Bethany Guy with 1 and Katie Barker with 1 as well. Then we go to Leeds United against FC United of Manchester. Leeds United with a hat-trick for Laura Bartup, 4th, 19th and 84th minute. Then Sarah Danby in the 74th minute and Abby Brown in the 89th minute, making it 5-0 to Leeds United. Liverpool Feds continue their good start to the season with a 3-0 victory over Bradford City. A 4th minute opener for Paige Cole, who then got a second of the game in the 46th minute, and Molly Farley in the 34th minute, with a 3-0 victory there for Liverpool Feds. Norton Stockton Ancients and Chorley 0-0. Division 1 North table then, Leeds United at the top with 18 points and a goal difference of 13. They're tied with the Liverpool Feds, but Liverpool Feds have a game in hand. Newcastle United are on 13 points, but they've got 2 games in hand on Leeds United, so they could leapfrog them when they play those. Chorley in 4th, 12 points, as are FC United of Manchester. A point behind them, Stockport County, and then a point behind them, Norton and Stockton Ancients. Towards the bottom of the table, Durham Sestra have got 9 points, but they've only played 6 games. Bradford City are on 7 from 7. Chester Street Town are on 5 points. Barnsley are on 4, but they've got a game in hand over the teams around them as well. And Alnwick Town at the bottom of the table, 1 point from their 7 games. Division 1 South East then, and we had the Cambridge derby in midweek. Cambridge City 1, Cambridge United 2. Goal for Cambridge City coming from Grace Stanley, Emma Jenkins and Gislia Otten getting the 2 goals for Cambridge United to mean that they take the victory. Stevenage winning 2-0 away at Harlow Town. Their goals coming from Nicole Emmings and Lucy Webster. Hashtag United with a good 5-2 victory over London Seaward. London Seaward goals coming from Michelle Young in the 44th minute and Abby Dell in the 84th minute. No information about Hashtag United yet. Kent Football United and Billericay Town was postponed. Queen's Park Rangers and AFC Wimbledon. Goals for Queen's Park Rangers, Amelia Parsons and Ellie Seal. Goals for AFC Wimbledon, a hat-trick for Ashley Hinks, 36th, 50th and 60th minute. Rebecca Carter in the 47th minute and Gloria Cyber in the 62nd minute meant that AFC Wimbledon ran out 5-2 winners. And then go into the weekend. Billericay Town 2, Norwich City 1, Cambridge United 0, Actonians 6, Hashtag United 2, Cambridge City 0, and Kent Football United 0, AFC Wimbledon 3. The other two games were postponed. So Billericay Town winning by 2-1 against Norwich City. A goal for Norwich coming from Natasha Snelling, but goals for Billericay Town from Jade Blackie and Shannon Drew. Actonians then had a really convincing victory away at Cambridge United. Alessandra Barreca getting 2 goals, 12th minute and 39th minute. That was the second and third goals of the game because Rochelle Shakes in the 10th minute opened the scoring for the Actonians. 55th minute, Justine Buckmeyer got her name on the score sheet. Mila De Santos in the 66th minute, and then rounding out the scoring, Jessica Drage in the 84th minute gave Actonians a 6-0 victory and all 3 points. Hashtag United with a 2-0 victory over Cambridge City. No information about that game yet, though. And AFC Wimbledon with a 3-0 victory away at Kent Football United. Goal for substitute Chloe Sampson in the 70th minute, and then a brace for Megan Stowe, 78th minute and 85th minute. So very late goals coming for AFC Wimbledon, but a 3-0 victory for them. What that means for the table is that it's Hashtag United at the top of the Division 1 South East, 22 points from their 8 games. They're 3 points clear of Billericay Town, but Billericay Town have a game in hand, so they could get up there and join Hashtag United. AFC Wimbledon a further 3 points back on 16, as are Actonians after their big victory at the weekend. Cambridge United are on 12 points. They've got a game in hand, but they can only close the gap, not overtake anybody. London Seaward on 10 points from their 6 games, so they've got a couple of games in hand on everybody. Cambridge City have played 9 more than anybody else, and they're on 10 points as well. Queen's Park Rangers and Norwich City both on 7, but Queen's Park Rangers have only played 6 games. Enfield Town and Stevenage both on 6. Stevenage with that minus 22 goal difference already. Harlow Town on 1 point just above Kent Football United at the bottom of the table, who are yet to open their account for the season. Let's go through then into the Division 1 South West. A few games in midweek, but some postponements, and then also some postponements at the weekend as well. So on Wednesday, Cheltenham Town 2, Portishead 1, Larkhall Athletic 3, Swindon Town 2, and Poole Town 0, AFC Bournemouth 6. Then at the weekend, AFC Bournemouth 0, Cheltenham Town 0. That game had the venue swapped, the two teams swapped, so it was Bournemouth at home. That was similar to the Durham Leicester Newcastle game as well earlier on in the show. Maidenhead United against Swindon Town was postponed. Portishead then lost to Exeter City by 4-2, and Southampton women beat Poole Town by 6-0. We'll go back to Wednesday then, Cheltenham Town against Portishead. Goals for Cheltenham coming in the 52nd minute to Abby Bevan and in the 58th minute to Amy Wathen. That was after Portishead had taken the lead in the 27th minute and held it to half-time. But a good second half performance from Cheltenham Town. Larkhall Athletic 3, Swindon Town 2. This was a game which just shows you never really give up when it comes to a game of football. We haven't got the details of every single goal, but goals for Swindon Town came from Victoria Taylor in the 57th minute. No indication of any penalties or own goals There was another goal in there as well. That was after Eleanor Marie Briscoe had given Larkhall Athletic the lead and made it in the 15th minute. It was then all square up. So Swindon Town were 2-1 up going into stoppage time. Rhiannon Robbins, 92nd minute equaliser, and then a 100th minute winner, 90 plus 10 for Rhiannon Robbins to give Larkhall Athletic a 3-2 victory. Final game from midweek, then a convincing 6-0 win for Bournemouth. A brace for Becky Bath in the 15th and 39th minute. Molly Clark, Katie James, Abby Jones and Helen Corbin also popping up with goals. Into the weekend then, AFC Bournemouth and Cheltenham Town played out a 0-0 draw. Portishead 2, Exeter City 4. Goals for Exeter City coming in the 8th minute to Zoe Watkins, 60th minute to Phoebe Baker, and in the 29th minute, my apologies, 2 goals for Phoebe Baker there. It was 3-0 to Exeter City. Portishead pulled one back, Lulu Watts in the 78th minute before that 3-goal advantage was restored thanks to Sarah Stacey in the 86th, and then a consolation 92nd minute goal for Rosie Hill. But Exeter took the 3 points, winning by 4 goals to 2. Southampton women then with a 6-0 victory over Poole Town, the final game we're going to look at in this episode. Rachel Okoro, 17th and 43rd minute. 50th minute, Sian Wiley. 54th minute, Chloe Tucker. 83rd minute, Lauren Cheshire. And 85th minute, Gracie White. A convincing 6-0 victory for Southampton women. That means for the table, Cheltenham Town are at the top. Despite the draw on Sunday. They have played 8 games. They've got 17 points. Exeter City and Southampton women who have that game in hand could catch them. Exeter City in particular could go back to the top. Cheshire United and Bournemouth are on 13 points and 12 points respectively. They've got a couple of games in hand, so either of those sides could also get up to the top of the table. So 5 teams that could mathematically be at the top of the table when you when you equal out all the games played. Portishead in the mid of the table, 11 points from 8 games. Maidenhead United have only played 5 and they've got 7 points. So again, they could get themselves up to 16 potentially when they get up to 8 games themselves. Larkhall Athletic are on 6 points, Swindon Town on 3, as are Buckland Athletic, who have also only played 5 games, and Poole Town still at the bottom of the Division 1 Southwest, yet to get a point this season. That then is all of the games that have been played in the past 7 days. So now let's look ahead to the next 7 days. We've got midweek fixtures and then a few fixtures at the weekend, but it is more County Cup and League Cup action this weekend, so not much happening in the league. We'll start in the Northern Premier Division tonight. West Bromwich Albion against Nottingham Forest. Tomorrow, Burnley against Brighouse Town. Then 3 fixtures on Thursday with the Loughborough Lightning playing Derby. Sheffield FC against Huddersfield Town and Stoke City against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Then at the weekend, just the 3 games. Loughborough Lightning against Middlesbrough. West Bromwich Albion against Huddersfield Town. And Wolverhampton Wanderers against Hull City. In the Southern Premier Division, this is just in midweek. Gillingham against Crawley Wasps tonight. Bridgewater United against Keynsham Town. Hounslow versus Oxford. Milton Keynes Dons take on London Bees. And Portsmouth against Chichester and Chelsea. That is all tomorrow. Then at the weekend, a more full programme in the Southern Premier Division. Crawley Wasps against Chichester and Chelsea. Hounslow against Keynsham Town. Ipswich Town against Milton Keynes Dons. London Bees take on Gillingham. Southampton against Cardiff and Portsmouth against Bridgewater United. In the Division 1 Midlands, just 3 games on Sunday. Burton Albion against Biddeford United. Doncaster Rovers Bells take on Leek Town and Lincoln City face Howell Sports. 1 game in the Division 1 North, Leeds United against Durham Sestra. In Division 1 South East, Billericay Town take on Enfield Town. Harlow Town take on #United. London Seawood against Actonians and Stevenage face Cambridge United. And then in Division 1 South West, just a couple of games. Larkhall Athletic against Chesham United and Southampton Women against Portishead. Now the reason that there's not many games, as I said, is it's also League Cup action. This is the preliminary round, if you remember. These are the teams that haven't got a bye into the next round of the into the first round, they're calling it, of the League Cup. So Oxford United against Swindon Town, AFC Bournemouth against Kent Football United, Brighouse Town take on Stoke City, Derby County against Barnsley, Long Eaton United against Norton and Stockton Ancients, and Sheffield FC against AFC Fylde. Then if we look at the plate, FC United of Manchester face Stockport County, Leafield Athletic take on Solihull Moors, Maidenhead United versus Queen's Park Rangers, Norwich City against AFC Wimbledon, and Sporting Cowser against Peterborough United. That'll just about do it then. That'll cover the fixtures that have happened in the past 7 days, all of the results there, and looking ahead to what's coming in the next week. Thank you very much for joining me following what has been a record-breaking weekend in the FA Women's National League. 4,500 people watching the East Midlands Derby, but it's Derby County that came out on top and climbed themselves up the Northern Division table. Not as much action going on next week, so next week's show may well be a little bit shorter. But thank you very much for joining me this week. Don't forget, I'm here every Tuesday, 6 p.m. for the FA Women's National League show. If you want to get involved, my Twitter is at Chris_Gadsby, or leave any comments below this YouTube video and I'll respond to them all. But thank you very much for watching and for the support on this show. Stay safe, keep supporting your local team, and goodbye.